That's Chapeltown Law at 7:30 over on BBC2.
District of Leeds. This programme contains scenes which some viewers may find disturbing.
Please, Dad, can you tell quickly? I've just killed someone.
What's your name?
Sadie.
What have you stabbed him with?
A carving knife.
All right, we'll get somebody down there to you, all right?
Please.
When Sadie Burton was charged with attempted murder, there was only one legal firm in the whole of Leeds she wanted to defend her. A legal aid practice in the heart of Chapeltown, whose reputation is to win the impossible cases.
It's got a reputation of being a rough place, a dangerous place.
It's had a lot of really bad press, really horrible press.
It's very multiracial, very, very mixed.
It's a very good, thriving community.
I've heard certain taxi drivers refusing to go there at night and drop people off at night.
It's quite a poor area, a lot of crime in the area.
Historically, relations with the police have been difficult at times.
The thing is, in this area, a lot of the police are stereotype about everyone. Whether they're known or they're not known, they still put them on the same level. That's why they make a lot of mistakes. And the mistakes that they made are embarrassing and a lot are hidden. You might see some, like the odd few come alight and everybody speaks about it, but there's many more that don't come alight.
Good morning, it's Mr. Ahmed, how can I help?
Hello, Maren.
We are a multiracial practice, and that is terribly, terribly important to us. If we're attempting to represent people in the community and don't reflect that community within our own staff, then that's a disgrace. I think we should do even better than we have done.
I know.
We are just about 100% legal aid, and a section of the practice deals with family, children, violence issues. A section that I'm involved in deals with crime and immigration, and I do quite a lot of inquest work. So this is the sort of work we do. We don't do conveyancing of property, we don't do personal injury work. The real joy really is working with our clients. This is me, look.
Yeah, no, I keep looking at that one.
Where?
There.
With that mask on?
Yes, of course.
Leave it out.
Hi. Sorry I didn't get back to you yesterday, but what can I do for you?
Does he need to see us today?
Oh, I think we're going to flip a lid,
I mean, to be honest, he's made promises to you that he can't deliver. He came in here, obviously not knowing what the law was in relation to what he was talking about to you. He was asking us advice, really,
Okay.
A few minutes.
Yeah, make it past if you want to. Although I think that we are all absolutely exhausted by the amount of work that's got to be done, we are doing it with and for people who we like, people who on many occasions we think there but for the grace of God go I, and it's all worthwhile ultimately.
Got through and James is in, and Lutel James has scored for Bury. His first ever league goal. The bounce favoured him, but he was persistent and he's absolutely joyful.
This is what the police say. We drew up alongside, and as we did so, James alighted from his vehicle and began shouting, "What you police Babylon going to do now? I'm among my brothers." I told him to calm down and got out of our vehicle. He then came up to me, placed his face about 2 inches from mine, poked me in the chest and said, "Come on then, I'll knock you out." I then pushed him away. He then said, "I'm going to huff and kill you," and took a step towards me. I told him he was under arrest for threatening behaviour. I then took hold of his arm, at which point he began to struggle and lash out. I could see about 20 youths start to gather round, shouting abuse and threats. I drew my CS incapacitant, warned James to stop struggling. He did not. I then sprayed him and warned the crowd to back away. We were joined by a Chapeltown unit who assisted us in trying to place James in handcuffs. He continued to struggle throughout, making the exercise difficult. He was eventually forced into the rear of our vehicle. We then started to have bricks and bottles thrown at us, causing damage to the police vehicle. The crowd were increasingly hostile and at one point attempted to rescue James from the driver's side of the vehicle. So that's their version. Let's just have another look. I know this is only part, but let's have another look.
Police stations and prisons are very closed, secretive communities, and it's perhaps not surprising that one hears complaints of abuse of power. The people who work in them have extraordinary powers given to them, and they abuse those powers at times, and one hears quite extraordinary examples.
Just had a double hernia repair.
Right.
So that means there's any movement at all, and you can feel it, maximum pain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's uncomfy as hell. There's no way I'm going to be carrying on with nobody.
Right.
He's not listened to nothing I've got to say. He just took out the CS and started spraying me in my face.
And not only that, there's parts in there that say like, "my brothers" and Babylon.
No.
None of them words are used. They're going back in the years that words would have been used. And that shows what the lies that he's building up to try and make it all sound like a bigger story.
Some police officers see us working against them, and that's what they see us as trying to undermine their good work, if you like. But I think that others, I hope that others, see us as simply being a part of the process of justice. That's how I see it. They have their job to do, and we have ours. I've seen some who've stood in the witness box, and I've seen them lie, quite obviously, and I'm sure they don't feel very happy about what we do, but I don't feel bad about that.
Well, it's absolutely disgusting that Trythall should have to endure this. It's a public spectacle of humiliation. He is a well-known, respected person because of what he does. Trythall's a professional footballer. If this can happen to him in circumstances which can't be justified, what level of antagonism is that going to build up? And the ordinary guys who just happen to be on the pavement, they're going to think, if he's treated like that, what am I going to be treated like?
More recent history of Chapeltown starts with the 1981 riots, which were traumatic for the area. You still meet people in London who will say, Chapeltown, yes, of course. And that's what they're harking back to, because that's the only impression they have. I'm quite astonished that that impression has lasted as long as it has. Chapeltown to me is a good place to work because there are very good supermarkets just down the road. There's a nice sandwich shop just down the road. I walk around the area and I have no fears at all for my safety. If you come into the area on a Sunday, you have difficulty getting down Hare Hills Avenue because of the church which is there and the people queuing up to get into it. So it's a very wrong impression that Chapeltown is simply an area where people commit crime and have riots.
I'm gonna have a fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Can we have two plates of fish,
and rice.
One of the great advantages of working in Chapeltown is the cuisine you get. Thank you very much. For £3 you could get a plate full of food and it's the nicest food that you could eat. I left school and did a lot of dead-end jobs. I came to live in England as a teenager.
Where are you from?
I'm from Trinidad originally. I came to England at such an impressionable age that I was very affected by what I saw when I came to England and sort of I was very politicised by what I sort of experienced in England as well. And I did start to develop an interest in sort of justice generally and particularly in sort of civil rights, what was going on the street, you know, and that a lot of that was motivation for me to sort of become a lawyer. You know, there's racism in Trinidad, there is institutional racism in Trinidad, but I never saw sort of overtly violent racism until I came to live in this country.
The public perception is asylum seekers are bogus. Many of them are here simply because they want a better life. The number of people coming to Yorkshire, we are talking about several thousand a year. Many people would not believe that they are tortured or persecuted in their countries, and that still happens. Okay, Lilia, we are here today as you know, your interview with the Home Office is on 8th of October.
Ну, как вы знаете, Лилия, мы здесь сегодня, чтобы...
Lilia is someone who got involved in politics in Belarus, and today we will be. She's fighting for more democratic society, and she became also connected to the opposition and member of social or political groups, which then caused them to made a few attempts on her life, trying to poison her. So she then fled the country because obviously she couldn't stay there any longer. It was becoming very dangerous. She fled with her family over here and applied for asylum.
I realized that my children and my country were facing great danger. Very soon after a referendum, I noticed that unknown people watch me. They listened to my telephone and read my mail. I know these people were from Belarusian KGB.
And they were following you at that time.
Вот в это время, как за вами следили, кто-то следил.
Да, за мной постоянно ходили.
Yes, I was followed constantly.
Lukashenko has a secret list of his personal enemies. I was in this secret list.
They try to blend in and look like ordinary people, but you can always tell, who they are.
У них, они одеваются не так, как мы. Все они ходят в кожаных куртках.
They dress differently. They all wear leather jackets.
И даже когда они вот с нами.
Law is the largest growth industry in Leeds, with a multi-million-pound turnover, the biggest legal centre outside London. But the gulf between commercial law and legal aid work is vast, and the solicitors at Harrison Bundey must make a vocational choice to forego the fat cat image and salary.
So there's no point in it coming, it's not a case.
We won't get any listing through for it.
Well, seeing as we skipped a bit and we went to any other business, is there any other?
You do have to be committed to work here, but a lot of applicants to work here say, well, it's this firm I want to come to. They know what they're in for. They know it's very hard work. They know that the pay isn't marvellous, but they're part of a friendly atmosphere, serving a local population who they will relate to.
Are you going? Restricted. I didn't even know about it. Do you have to wear beachwear trunks, or can you just go in like?
Oh,
well, obviously you come in short.
Can I wear your pinny?
That's all the better. What are you wearing?
My pinny.
Shall we get your photo out to show Mark?
Yeah, no.
Look at that. With his marigolds on. Hands that do dishes can be soft as your face.
Right, Sadie, this interview is being tape recorded and it may be given in evidence if your case is brought to trial. And I'm investigating an offence of attempted murder. He's recorded a reply upon you being arrested as being, "I tried to kill him, I'm sorry, look what he's done to me."
I was a bit hysterical.
What they've recorded then is you saying, "I only stabbed him because he threatened to kill my dogs."
Yeah, I understood that, I said that, but I was still a bit shocked.
Yes.
I certainly don't believe in the kind of conveyor belt lawyer, if you like, who simply says, this is my job, this is my speciality, leave it to me. You need to help people understand the process that they've suddenly found themselves unexpectedly in the middle of, so that they can feel a bit more in control and a bit more comfortable with it.
Well, I actually placed an ad on the teletext. I might add that I've got a bit of a background. I was actually born male. And they discovered when I was about 13 that I suffered from Klinefelter's syndrome, which means I have an extra gene, which involved me having surgery, which I had done when I was 19. And basically my ad read, designer label, post-op male to female TS.
Right, so that was what the advert said?
Yeah,
right.
see, it's a genuine article.
Right, so it was absolutely clear to him, just through that advert, that was your particular background?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't threaten or anything like that? All right. There'll be a phone call or someone will just turn up in the office. You know, usual situation is woman has been beaten up, probably for years actually, by her partner, and there'll be one incident, and you don't really know why it was that incident, but one incident that just tips the balance and makes them realise they've got to do something.
Started shouting and bawling at me, threatening to expose me and everything, and calling me a freak and this, that and the other.
This leg's almost black with bruising. Why do you think he made such an onslaught on your legs in particular? I mean, was it perhaps at times the only bit of you he could reach, or?
No, he said that he was going to start at the bottom and work his way up to the top.
Right.
And then he looked at me and he just said to me, "If you don't have AIDS now, you will have by the time I've finished." And he grabbed his crutch and then he started coming towards me. And I was in a dressing gown, and he grabbed hold of me round the neck by the dressing gown, forced me back onto the sofa, and he raped me. And that was unprotected sex, and I was absolutely terrified, do you know what I mean?
As you know, this is going to have to be gone into in considerable detail at trial. So Sadie has a very, very clear case of self-defence. What I think will be very difficult for Sadie is the press publicity, because she's a very private person. She is known to a large number of neighbours and friends simply as, you know, the woman who lives at number so-and-so. And there's no earthly reason why anybody should know every detail of her past. But if that's going to come out at trial, then that's, you know, as I say, it's personal stuff, and it's going to be hard for her to deal with that level of exposure.
Hello? Hello, how can I help? It's Simon Namsoo here from Harrison Bundey's. Allegation of assault and drugs. Is it possible to have a quick word with Michael on the phone? I'm in Chapeltown police station, you know, nearly every day. Michael! Hi Michael, it's Simon from Bundey's. Michael, are you alright? Are you physically okay? Was there a bit of trouble during the arrest then? It's not a job that you could sort of fall out with people and get to, you know, you've got to be careful in this job. You've got to maintain that, you know, sort of professionalism within it, because from the time you sort of, you know, you lose it with police officers or police officers lose it with you, you know, the defendant and the victim suffers. This is not a private conversation. You're on a police telephone, and I don't want things recorded and used in evidence out of context, okay? So let's stay hush about what happened until you get some advice on the evidence from me. Mr. Michael Rowe, please. Thank you very much, Tar. I've lodged a couple of complaints against police officers, and police officers have probably complained against me. In 10 years, I've only had one incident where I've actually fallen out with a police officer to the extent that they were kicking us out of the police station. Could we talk now, since then, the officers and I?
Oh, it was 14 months of anguish. I mean, I got to a stage where I couldn't even eat anything solid. They was giving me liquid food because I just found it impossible to eat. It was just like a film set, and I was watching what was going off. There was nothing else I could do. The first day of the trial, I was in the papers, and it said something like transsexual stabs abusive lover or something like that. And I got a group of kids come round and saying, "You're a man, you're a man." And then I went to the local shop. Everyone just stopped talking, and you know, I could see them looking at me, you know, and it was as though I'd grown another head, you know. And I just said, "Oh, obviously you've seen the newspapers." You know, I said, "Judge it for yourself." I said, "Just see what the outcome is."
I think the trial has gone extremely well, and there have been some very surprising bits of evidence, I think, to the judge and the jury. The 999 tape, which I think has been absolutely key. Also, one of Sadie's answer phone tapes, which had his voice on it. And when he was giving his evidence and presenting himself as, you know, the amenable, courteous, loving befriender, and then he had to listen to his own voice insulting her, calling her a hermaphrodite and everything else. I mean, I think the jury were able to size up something about his credibility at that point. We're now trying to pull everything together. Then the judge sums up, and then the jury will be sent out to decide.
Anyone that hears that tape, will know how terrified I was. That did churn my stomach over. It did really churn it over.
Before he then collapses over one side of the sofa, apparently, she thinks that he's coming at her again. And I think that that is really the last thing the jury should hear, just to remind themselves of that night and of her sheer panic and the context in which she did what she had to do.
Please, Doc, can you come quickly? I've just killed someone. Please come quickly. He's beaten the hell out of me, and I'm so frightened. What's your name? Sadie. Please come quickly. He's gonna kill me.
Yeah, don't scream. Who's it you stabbed, lovey?
Oh, please come quickly.
All right, we'll get somebody down there too. You all right?
Please.
On the beginning of November 1999, my youngest son Ivan was coming home from school.
And it was in winter, and it was late, it was dark.
He saw a car coming at high speed towards him.
I jumped out, but I remembered number. And from the window, car stopped, and from the window is man told that we will kill you and your mother.
I realized that that squad could kill myself, my sons, and my husband at any time.
I think she has quite a strong case. We have also some independent agencies involved in this case who have confirmed that her story is genuine and that what happened to her really has happened. It's up to the Home Office now what they're going to do with the case. We would expect them to grant her asylum because her life is obviously in danger. The Home Office may refuse her, in which case it is very likely that we will appeal and then go to the court.
It has to be shown that you intended to cause another person to believe that unlawful violence would be used against him or another. The prosecution must prove the offence beyond reasonable doubt. Having listened to all the evidence and watching the video, we do not accept that there is any evidence of you behaving in an aggressive manner towards the police officers, either physically or verbally, and we therefore find you not guilty.
I've got kids. I've got 2 kids, and I don't want them to ever feel like I did. The part I'm upset about is that they tried to send me to jail telling lies, and then they followed through with it. I believed that if they knew they were telling lies, I thought there was some time or another where they thought, you know what, just leave it alone because we was out of order. But they never once acknowledged that. They went in the courtroom, spoke to magistrates, and tried to convince the magistrates on their lies to send me to jail. And that is totally out of order.
The police declined to be interviewed about Littell James's case, but issued a statement to say that his file has now been passed to the Independent Police Complaints Authority for consideration.
They acquitted her of attempted murder, they acquitted her of wounding with intent, and they acquitted her of wounding without intent. So she was found not guilty of every charge. She feels she's been laid bare. Her private life, her background has now been revealed to all sorts of people that she had never spoken to in a personal way. She had cuttings pushed through her door of her own court case from neighbours and so on. She does hope to move away, but it's not as easy as that. But I think that this whole experience has put her so much in the public eye that she would like to retreat from that.
It's enough for me to walk down the street without putting up with abuse. I think they're so clever. They can laugh and jeer at me, but they want to remember what I went through. Would they want their mothers or their sisters to go through what I went through that night? Because when it comes down to it, I'm a woman. And all I was a lonely woman that wanted some love.